Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. And this is more IBFP boxing news, the weekend recap, and let's just break it down. And, Devin Haney had an impressive win against Antonio Moran. He basically stopped Antonio Moran in the seventh round. Antonio Moran had never been stopped before. Devin Haney knocked him out in impressive fashion on his DAZN debut. That moves, Devin Haney, Devin the Dream Haney, to 22-0. At just 20 years old. And if you look at Devin Haney, he's one of the upcoming prospects. There's not much to say about this fight. I think Devin Haney dominated from beginning to end and knocked him out in impressive fashion. Devin Haney looks to be one of the special young fighters in this game, and I put Devin Haney in the same line and same thought process, a lot of the top young fighters. So I look at Devin Haney as a potential star. I look at Shakur Stevenson as a potential star. I look at, Virgil Ortiz as a potential star. I look at Teofimo Lopez as a potential star. These are all guys who have enormous talent for their age. These are all young guys, and they all have a lot of charisma and things that they can bring to the table. So these guys could all eventually end up fighting each other one day. These guys are very, very special athletes. And I have to be honest and unbiased. When I look at it, Devin Haney, he's very special. In other news, Shakur Stevenson is actually the number one contender. And that is very, very interesting. Shakur Stevenson is the number one contender for the WBO belt, and we all know who has the WBO belt, and that is none other than Oscar Valdez. And so now if you look at Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez, you'll say that Oscar Valdez is an extremely, extremely talented fighter, and he's going to be a problem for anybody. He's a very, very good world champion. But then you look at a guy like Shakur Stevenson, and the only question is he ready? Is he ready for this type of challenge? And it's almost to the point where I think that he could be. He's just that special. He's just that head of the curve. He's already came out and stated that he believes that he's going to be one of the best of all times. I just truly, truly think that Shakur Stevenson is going to be a problem for anyone. Like, you got to look at Shakur Stevenson. He has knockout power. He has defense. He has, lateral movement. He has head movement. He has a great offensive game plan. He goes to the body. He goes to the head. There's literally nothing Shakur Stevenson does that I say he does terrible. He's a very bright kid with a very bright future. And I think he's going to be a problem for years to come. Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez is mandatory. I think that that's going to be an excellent fight if it gets made. At the end of the day, these guys are very, very talented, and it'll be very talented, very telling on what happens. Because you have to look at it like this. Does Oscar Valdez fight Shakur Stevenson? Does he relinquish the belt? Does he fight him straight up? Does Shakur move away? Like, what happens with that fight? And if you look at it, Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez, this will be very telling as to what point of development Shakur Stevenson at. Is he on a higher level than we even think? Because every opponent that he's fought, he's looked tremendous against. Or is Oscar Valdez being a world champion just too much for Shakur Stevenson, and Shakur needs more time to grow, and that fight with these two would show that. I think it's a very close fight. I'm not ready to pick who wins in that fight because I think both guys are very, very special, very, very bright, and that fight could literally go either way. I'm leaning too close to a 50-50 fight on that right now because of Shakur Stevenson's youth. But you never know what'll happen. Let's just keep it going. Now, this is according to the boxing voice, the biased boxing voice. Deontay Wilder made a statement that the Dillian Whyte fight is going to come if he keeps winning. There ain't going to be no way around it. When it does happen, he's going to be like Dominic Brazil. Be careful what you ask for, young man. You just might get it. Now, let's be honest and unbiased, is that Dillian Whyte is levels above, Dominic Brazil. So the fact that you would say that what would happen to Dillian Whyte is the same thing that happened to Dominic Brazil makes no sense. Now, yes, Dillian Whyte could get caught with the right hand. Dillian Whyte could get knocked out. These are all possibilities when you deal with Deontay Wilder because he's a one-trick pony, and the one thing that he does extremely well is find you with that right hand. You're absolutely right. But where you're wrong is Dillian Whyte has a lot more tools in the toolbox than Dominic Brazil. Dillian Whyte has fought at a higher level and better competition than Dominic Brazil. And at the end of the day, Dillian Whyte is a much better fighter than Dominic Brazil. So I truly believe that, Dillian Whyte, who's around the same size as Luis Ortiz, is going to be able to pump that jab on Deontay Wilder, keep him on the back foot, and, keep him at bay. The best, defense is a good offense, and I think Dillian White's not shy about putting on a great offense against a Deontay Wilder. If you look at Luis Ortiz, people almost forget that a 40-year-old Luis Ortiz almost stopped Deontay Wilder in the 7th round, but because he knocked out Dominic Breazeale in dramatic fashion, people act like he's the best fighter they've ever seen at heavyweight. Let's be honest and unbiased. Luis Ortiz had, Deontay Wilder going life and death, and he got up from the first knockdown. So let's be honest and unbiased. Deontay Wilder power can be, overcome at times. Tyson Fury got up twice. You look at Luis Ortiz got up once. It's the level of competition that shows you who gets up from those type of shots. It's the level of competition to see how long and how deep waters they can drag you. I think if Dillian White gets Deontay Wilder in the same position that Luis Ortiz did, he stops Deontay Wilder. Let's be honest and unbiased. But let's keep it going. And Deontay Wilder made additional statements about Anthony Joshua. He stated that Joshua fight is not happening this year, that's for sure. And that's something that we already knew. We knew that Deontay Wilder was going to duck Anthony Joshua. And, we just needed Deontay Wilder to confirm this. But then he contradicts himself later in that same statement by saying, this is boxing. It changes like the weather. I may have to rephase myself. We don't know. Could be a dramatic change. And all of a sudden you've got Joshua Wilder at the end of the year. Now, the only way that I would see that happening is basically, because Deontay Wilder keeps getting hurt. Because Deontay Wilder, if he knows that, he's at the point in his career where he can't keep going because of certain injury issues, then he may take the risk of taking Anthony Joshua fight for a cash out. At the end of the day, he should be fighting Anthony Joshua next, regardless. But he won't. And that's simply because he's not ready for that level of competition. Deontay Wilder does not want any smoke with Anthony Joshua. But let's keep it going. Eddie Hearn has met with Gary Russell. He was ringside at the DAZN show in Maryland. At the end of the day, he's already stated, on social media that he's a free agent. He's willing to move away from PBC Showtime for more money. And Eddie Hearn, DAZN, would be willing to offer him more money. One fight that would be interesting if they could get it made at some point, because there's talks about Gary Russell moving up. If they could make a Gary Russell versus Tevin Farmer fight, I think that would be extremely interesting at some point, because those styles would be amazing. I think that fight would be very, very good. It'd be a tactical chess match. And I think a guy like Gary Russell Jr., at this point in his career, he wants to be more active. He wants more money. He wants to secure his future. And there's no better place than to secure your future than DAZN. We've been hearing a lot of rumblings about DAZN and they're not making profits or this or that. DAZN is actually fine in any business. And this shows you a lot of casual fanboys like the LDVC coming out and saying all this garbage about DAZN. DAZN is actually growing. If you look at it and be honest and unbiased, there's reports coming out saying they have over 4 million subscribers. The Canelo event was a dramatic success. And then they're going to have 2 more Canelo events. Then we have an Anthony Joshua event coming. We have so many great events coming. You have Triple G, you have Demetrius Andre, you have so much intrigue, and it's only going to get bigger and better. No one anticipates to turn a huge profit in their first year. No one anticipates that. DAZN has put in so much, and if you know anything about business, you know that you don't turn huge profits within the first year. That makes no sense. That's an investment, period. So these guys don't understand basic economics, and that's why most of them work at McDonald's. But let's be honest and unbiased. Once again, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.